It was supposed to be a normal family dinner. Candles lit, dishes steaming, laughter echoing faintly through the room. But under that warm light, something colder simmered. My dad sat at the head of the table, glaring at me like I'd ruined his appetite. My mom stirred her soup, refusing to meet my eyes. My sister, as usual, scrolled through her phone, smirking every few seconds. Then it came. "You're the biggest disgrace to this family," my father said flatly, setting his fork down. The words hit like glass shattering inside my chest. Mom didn't stop him. She just sighed and said, "We tried so hard to raise you right, but look at you. No stable job, no family of your own, just disappointment." The air grew heavy. Even my sister joined in, laughing. "He's not even trying to fix his life. You should have known better than to expect anything from him." I sat there quietly, feeling the weight of every word. I wanted to argue, to defend myself, to scream that I was doing my best, that chasing something meaningful wasn't the same as being a failure. But I'd learned that explaining yourself to people who've already decided who you are never changes anything. So instead I smiled faintly and said, "You're right. Maybe I am the disgrace. But I'm not done yet." My dad scoffed. "Done with what?" "Dreaming." I stood up, folded my napkin and said calmly, "With letting you define me." Then I left the table. That night I packed my bags and walked out of the house for good. No yelling, no tears, just a quiet resolve. They thought they'd ended me with those words. What they didn't realize was that they'd just lit the fire that would change everything. Because I wasn't a disgrace. I was unfinished. And soon they'd see exactly what that meant. The night I left home, I had nothing but a duffel bag, a second-hand laptop, and a heart full of anger. I walked for hours before finding a cheap motel on the edge of town. The room smelled like dust and damp wood, but it was mine, quiet, empty, and honest. I didn't sleep that night. Their words echoed in my head over and over. Disgrace. Failure. Embarrassment. It hurt more than I wanted to admit. But beneath that pain was something sharp. Determination. I opened my laptop and pulled up an old project I'd abandoned years ago. A startup idea I once pitched to my dad, who laughed and called it a child's fantasy. It was an app that connected local freelancers with small businesses in need of short-term help, a bridge for people like me, who were trying but never taken seriously. I stayed up all night sketching plans, rewriting code, mapping features. I didn't have much money, but I had time, drive, and silence, the best kind of fuel. Days turned into weeks. I picked up odd jobs to survive, delivering food, fixing phones, cleaning offices, anything that paid enough to keep me afloat. Every spare minute went into building that app. 3 months later, LinkUp was ready for a soft launch. I posted about it online, hoping for maybe a handful of downloads. Within 2 days, there were over 2,000. Small businesses were desperate for help, and freelancers needed work. Somehow, I had built something that mattered. I kept improving it, adding new features, fixing bugs, working through nights that blurred into mornings. Then one day, I got an email from a small investor, someone who'd seen my post and wanted to meet. I expected a polite rejection or a lowball offer. Instead, he said, "You've built something with real potential. I want to help scale it." That meeting changed everything. Within 6 months, LinkUp had funding, a small office, and a team of 5. We grew fast. Too fast sometimes, but every mistake taught me something. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was creating. A year later, we hit our first 1,000,000 users. Articles started calling it the next big freelancing revolution. I tried not to think about my family, but every headline, every milestone, made their words echo softer and softer. Then one evening, as I was wrapping up a meeting, my assistant said, "There's a woman here asking for you. Says she's your mother." My stomach tightened. I walked out to the lobby, and there she was. A little older, tired, and unsure. She looked around the sleek office, at the framed articles on the wall, then back at me. "I didn't know where else to go," she said softly. "Your father's been struggling. Your sister too. Things haven't been easy." I stayed silent, unsure what to feel. she continued. We saw you on the news last week. The article about your app. Your dad, he didn't say anything but I could tell he was proud. He's just not good at admitting it. He nodded. That sounds about right. Tears welled up in her eyes. We were wrong, Alex. About everything. You didn't disgrace us. We disgraced ourselves. Her words hit hard, not with satisfaction but with something like peace. I led her inside, made her tea, and listened as she told me about home, about how quiet dinners had become since I left. Before she left, she whispered, "Your father wants to see you. He's ashamed, but he wants to." That night, I sat in my office, the same room I'd built from the ground up, staring at the glowing city lights outside. I thought about all the times I'd been called a failure, and how, somehow, those moments had turned into the foundation for everything I'd built. The next morning, I drove home for the first time in 2 years. My father opened the door. His face was thinner, eyes softer. He didn't say anything at first, just stood there, then finally murmured, "You proved me wrong." I smiled gently. "I didn't do it to prove you wrong, Dad. I did it to prove myself right." He nodded, and for the first time he hugged me. That single moment, quiet, human, unspoken, was worth more than every insult, every sleepless night. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't to fight back. It's to build a life so full, so undeniable, that even those who doubted you have to bow their heads and whisper, "We were wrong." When I walked out that night, I promised myself I'd never let their words define me again. I started working 2 jobs, mornings at a cafe, nights designing websites for small businesses. I saved every penny, rented a small studio apartment, and filled it with plants, books, and quiet. For the first time in years, peace didn't feel like a stranger. Months later, one of my designs went viral. A startup CEO reached out and offered me a full-time position with a salary my father once said I'd never be worth. I accepted, but not for revenge, for freedom. When I bought my first car, Mom called. Her tone was softer this time. She said they'd seen my success online and wanted to catch up. I hesitated. But I went. Not as the broken child they remembered, but as someone who built themselves from scratch. As I walked into that same dining room where they once humiliated me, I smiled. This time I brought dessert and dignity. Sometimes walking away is the start of everything good. If you've ever been made to feel small by the people who should have lifted you up, remember your worth isn't theirs to define. Build quietly, succeed loudly, and let peace be your real revenge.